addition to the Nobody Move video, you had also written an article for Medium about Trump being the worst president ever. So
this is true.
If people have not read that article,
you need to go read it, because I can't even break all the shit down that I put in that article. I can't. You know, I've been writing for the Washington Post and for Vice and for Medium and for all these different outlets for a while. And just like with music, it comes and goes depending on how I'm feeling and depending on, you know, if I got some shit that I really got to get off of my chest. And that situation came up where I was able to basically write for them. It's my first time getting down with them, and it was one of the most viewed articles on the platform because it's unfiltered. You know, it's not done trying to appease anybody. It's simply stating the facts. And regardless of what your political leanings are, the fact that the response to COVID-19 has impacted people of color much more so than it otherwise would have, and that it's not under control yet, makes Donald Trump a mass murderer. And if for no other reason other than that, he should be ousted ASAP.
Well,
there's hella other shit I could say, but I mean, I'm saying just that very real negative impact that he's had on my community is enough to make him go.
I agree. And I think that your article does a great job highlighting that, as does, you know, Baby Man Hands also on the Safe Space album. But there's so much on the album that's so intriguing. And with Chain Reaction in particular, you had mentioned George Jackson, who's another historical figure I know has influenced you tremendously. So as a writer and as an activist, I wanted you to explain for people that aren't familiar with him why he had such a big impact on him.
It wasn't just specifically him. It was the showing people in resistance mode, right? And showing people who were kind of unapologetic in their approach to how to get down. Like it's okay to be brutal with your oppressor. And when I said that, you know, I'm George Jackson when it comes to action. I mean, that's kind of in the middle of a radio single. You know what I'm saying? Because Chain Reaction got a radio single vibe to it. But it's necessary to just constantly push my line. And that's what I wanted to do. You know, I want to always, you know, show the roughest edge, because you get so much other shit in entertainment that is not me, right? So some people will say, Perry's been making the same record for 30 years. Well, pretty much. But the same bullshit been going on for 30 years. And you know what? You ask yourself, is the game better with or without me? That's what it boiled down to. You need to have that balance, you know, and right now we don't have balance.
Yeah, and also in that song too, I think it's important for people that, in my opinion, unjustly criticize or hold to different standards, say your music than other people's music, for instance. Like in that song too, you talk about coming in peace. And I think one of the misperceptions in how things are presented is that most of the stuff that you and a lot of people talking about is a reaction to the injustice and the atrocity. It's not a proactive, it's a reaction.
Well, that's the truth. That is true. You know, you don't want to be like, of course you don't want to be reactive to violence either and shit. That means you already got. But you know what I'm saying? People like who don't know me like you do kind of expect Vader or some shit before they meet me. And that's not the case, man. I'm pretty cool. It's just, again, this music is catharsis for me. It's therapeutic. It allows me to get shit off my chest that I can't otherwise get off my chest, and to have a lot of people go along for that ride and to reaffirm people's beliefs, you know, and say, hey, you know what, this dude speaks for me. You know, this is somebody who I feel represents where I'm coming from, and I don't get that shit anywhere else.
Right.
And that's it.
Well, in addition to all the overt political atrocities that are happening, one of the other ones that you address, I think, very well is on Turn the Key, where you talk a lot about gentrification.
Right.
And that's clearly very evident, but a lot more subtle. And it's happening around not only the United States, but of course the world, as income shifts and moves in different ways.
Right.
So being from San Francisco, being based in
gentrification capital of the planet, right here. Yeah. Well,
what?
the whole Bay Area. I mean, it was necessary to speak on that just because I would be derelict in my duties as an observer of my community if I didn't. You know, that's something that needs to be talked about. It's very real, and you know, economic opportunity and the wide chasm between the haves and the have-nots is only getting bigger and bigger and bigger as COVID continues to impact people, as businesses continue to be shut down. You know, but the death code keeps going up for us because a lot of times we are unfortunate in that we don't have the ability to social distance. You know, people who have service jobs don't have the ability to do that. People, or to stay home or to work from the house or anything like that. All of that gets lost in translation. And even those who do have jobs, they don't have healthcare benefits to be able to take care of shit at the house, right? So, the economic inequality continues to get worse and worse. And you know, I'm a firm believer that the great equalizer is education. You know, so very close to launching an educational initiative where I provide scholarships to people because that's the only shit that's going to get people right. You know, that much more so than a stimulus check, that all that shit is temporary relief, you know, but to be able to forge your own way and to be able to have your own shit, that's it. There is nothing else. You're not going to get rich on Instagram. You're not going to rap and get rich. You're not going to do none of that shit. None of that shit. It's all smoke and mirrors, right? No, the only real way to really get it is to nation build and to have your own and to be educated, to be value added. And you can't be value added if you're not educated. And I know that's not the kind of shit a lot of motherfuckers want to hear in a rap interview, but that's the truth. And in 2020, you know, it's time to correct our course. We had plenty of time to do it, but now is really the time to do it, you know, and people are hurting, shit. And I hate to be like the doomsayer, but I see it getting a lot worse.
Yeah.
You know, you got that eviction protections and shit about to be out here. I mean, it's about to be bad. And a lot of this shit is being artificially propped up to get through November. And it's game on next year. No matter who's in office, it's game on. They're going to inherit a bunch of bullshit. So it's best to just be prepared for any eventuality.
Well, speaking on the educational component, one of the things that I admired as a kid when Devil Made Me Do It came out was the inclusion of all the suggested reading.
Right.
So looking back, what was your mindset at the time to want to include all those books and to give the little mini reports in there about it?
You know, it was a way, you know, because I realized that when I got out of college, there was a whole bunch of shit I didn't know, especially as it pertained to my history, right? And so when I ended up doing, you know, reading and being exposed to literature that told me about myself, I wanted to share it. And I was, you know, on a very surface level, like the you know, it seemed big at the time, but it was really a minimal effort, just putting shit in the liner notes of a CD. You know, I didn't think that would really truly impact anybody, but I wanted to be able to do what I could do with the little bit of voice that I was provided. You know, I was brand new to Tommy Boy at the time, which obviously didn't work out. And you know, now that I'm able and can expand on what I started before, because there was a time when I was giving away scholarships and I was giving away housing assistance, but now I think it could make that much more of an impact, and the message can be more direct, and you know, and with the advent of technology and social media, I could just hit hella more people with it, and you know, really kind of lead by example. Right. I gotta, you know, I look at what LeBron did, and that shit is amazing with the school, right? But you know, I think that I could even, obviously, I can't match his bread, but I can provide you know, a really concentrated laser focus in terms of what I think is a strong solution.
Yeah, and that's something that, you know, sparking people's mind and giving them access.
Man, that's it. You know, I mean, like music, I love music and it's cool, but I don't like it when it ain't cool, right? And I don't, and you know, and people are like, well, why do you still do it and shit, man? I'll be 53 this year, right? Well, because I want to, and because I can, and because I'm better than a whole lot of motherfuckers that's out there, and because you have to be from a certain walk of life and of a certain age to be able to relay the kind of shit that I talk about. You can't be a teenager and shit telling me about how the world works. That just ain't what it is, right? So I got to make it and put it together in a way that slaps, that make motherfuckers want to come in, feel where I'm coming from, recognize the fact that I'm genuine, and ride with me. Learn some shit and have a good time.
Right. It's all very important. So, one thing that you have Gorilla Funk now, but
right.
Taking it back to when I first heard of you in '89 with the Scarface Groove, you came in the game with the, you know, independent label Scarface Records. So how and why did you pick that name, and how and why did you?
Man, everybody had that shit back then, you know, because everybody was, you know, intrigued with gangster life and the whole thing, and you know, and even if you weren't a gangster, you know, you root for the bad guy type shit, right? And that was the page that everybody was on. And it was a trip how the Devil Made Me Do It came about, because Mad Mike, who was my DJ at the time, we weren't a group, right? He was a part of a group called Cali Cool, and I was making music in the studio, making tracks, and I was working on my project, and they said, "Can you make some tracks for us and produce us? And Mike will in turn come and scratch on your shit." And then when I got signed, you know, Mike was the DJ, and we hit the road, you know, and at the time we had our differences. I'm pretty sure we'd be good now, obviously 30 years later, but at the time we had our differences, and then I ended up riding with Yanni Yan, and even DJ Shadow came in on the second record and did some things, you know, so it's been a good run.
Yeah, well, I always admired that. I call him Mad. That's one of my favorite DJ cases of all time. I love it.
Yeah, Mad is cold.
Very. But I was always interested about the white Porsche you had on the single cover.
Damn. Okay, you went back with that shit. Yeah, that was a single before I even got signed. You know, I think I was on Matt Cola at the time. Okay, hip hop historian, tell me about Matt Cola. I know you know.
Hollywood, man.
Yes, Don McMillan.
Main.
So for those who don't know, Matt Cola, this is a walk down memory lane. Matt Cola was I guess you could call them a label, but they were really a distributor. They pressed their own records in the back, and they were on in the 6200 block of Santa Monica in LA. And everybody who was notable at the time came through Matt Cola at some point and got beat by them, right? So Cube was on there, NWA was on there, 213, man, Egyptian Lover, Me, Arabian Prince, Tony, Hammer, hella people were on there, Digital Underground, everybody pretty much cut their teeth on getting took in the business at Matt Cola, right? And that was what happened to me. You know, I did that record, and that's not how I ended up getting signed though.